Welcome back to The Big Show. It's Alex Belfield in the morning, live and local, and talking to my favourite people and the country's biggest stars. And trust me right now, they don't come any bigger than Brendan Cole. How are you?
Marvellous. Thank you very much. That's a very nice introduction.
Thank you for coming into the studio. And I'll tell you why you're so popular. A little thing called Strictly Come...
yeah, that one.
That one, off the BBC, made a huge star of you and a household name. Are you appreciative of things like that? Because people in your profession generally go unnoticed, don't you? You can be the greatest dancer in the world, and 9 times out of 10 we've never heard of you.
Well, with dancing, before Strictly Come Dancing came along, it was a little world, a big world in terms of what we were doing within it, but nobody really heard of us or done anything within the industry. And actually, Strictly was a great opportunity to show what we actually got up to, because most people sort of think, cucumber sandwiches and little old ladies in a tea dance, which is far from the actual reality of it, because it took a lifetime of dedication, working day in, day out to try and get that goal, if you like.
I'll tell you what it's turned into for you, though, a whole business, of course, because you've got your live show now, which is Live and Unjudged, which is coming to Harrogate tonight. Is it nice for you to see the punters? Because, of course, telly's not real, is it? It
very much isn't. You sort of you're there. You're on the box, and there's however many million people watching you, which is something in itself. It's kind of a weird concept to get your head around. But that's why I've done my Live and Unjudged tour, just to almost bring it out there to the people, because that's the main thing people say to me on the street is, I'd love to see what it's really like live. Can I get tickets to the live studio audience? And obviously there's only so many at the BBC, but to put a tour on where you're going to these different places like Harrogate, the International Centre tonight, it's a chance for people to come and see it firsthand. And I wanted to do a show that was very different to, let's say, the TV show. Yes, there is the beautiful waltzes and foxtrots and a couple of the saucy ones, the rumbas and the cha-chas, but I wanted to do it very much interactive with the audience, where they got a chance to speak to us, if you like. There's a Q&A section. There's a chance. There's loads of banter between the audience as well as the dancing. So I hope it's there for the people.
I wonder though, when you go on these celebrity programs and then the attention is turned to somebody who's completely incompetent, like Anne Widdecombe. Not that you dance with her, but it kind of ridicules your profession in a way, doesn't it? Did you ever worry about that when they offered it to you?
In the beginning, yes. That was, I think, partly the reason I got my sort of feisty reputation, because I used to hate when people, either took the mickey out of it, because it's something you've strived so hard to achieve with. But now, in my older, wiser age, I kind of recognise that it's a massive entertainment show, and I love that about it actually now. For Anne to go out there and do what she did with Anton, I thought Anton was just brilliant this year. Brilliant television, genius, and I look at it and I watch with enthusiasm rather than going, shaking my head like I probably used to. But I think you've got to have a balance. I love the competitive edge. That's why I did dancing right from an early age. It was the competing. It certainly wasn't for the frocks, because I wasn't into that at 6 years old. And it's just a lovely thing to see somebody like Anne Widdecombe, so unexpected, twirling around like a Tweety bird. Amazing.
And those pesky judges, they love to wind you up and have their say. Do you take that personally, or is that show business and you leave it to one side?
You take it personally at the time, just because it's one of those things where you've worked, let's say, 20 or 30 hours on a dance with your celebrity partner, and you want the best for them because you come to care about them in some way, and then you get out there, you do your dance, you're kind of proud of them because they've done very well for their standard, and then some, I won't say it, person like Craig Revel-Hord sits there and goes, well, I didn't think that was very good at all. In fact, I thought it was rubbish. And you go, what? And your insides are bursting because you've done all. Imagine spending that much time working on something to have it slated. I'm not that kind of boy. I can't sit still. So.
Well, and again, it's like any profession, isn't it? Magic or any of those things, dancing, even cooking, I suppose. The art of it is making it look like you haven't rehearsed, but it's what's going on behind the scenes and the old duck thing, isn't it? The feet might be flapping, but on top of the water, everything's good.
Oh, completely. I mean, right from let's say the first dance, you've got to choreograph it, so you've got to come up with a concept for your partner. There's all the extras, the personality, because it is an entertainment show, as I just said, and then obviously you've got to teach them, and there's a lot of hard work, and there's emotion involved, and it goes up and down. And then there's that one moment, the judges, and it is frustrating, which is probably why I call my tour Live and Unjudged rather than anything else, just to take the little play on words with the judges, because they're not there.
Let me go through some of the names that you've worked with. I hope these are correct. Natasha Kaplinsky was your first.
Yes,
is that
indeed.
right?
Yeah, we won it together. It was good.
And of course, that shot you immediately to fame because you did very well with her. But you're only as good as your talent, aren't you? If she's pathetic, you're not going to win. Does your heart sink sometimes when you've got people who you think these are never going to get further than halfway through if they're lucky?
More than you know. It's a funny thing because you get into this, wherever you meet and you go, Right, okay, and you start judging, sizing up how far you're going to go and how much work it's going to take to even get them to be able to walk in a straight line. And on the other occasion, you get somebody, let's say like Cara, for example, who just won the last series, absolutely brilliant right from the start. That too is a challenge because you've now got to bring out the best in her, and to do that, it's going to take hours and hours of work. She will be able to do it, but just because she can do it doesn't mean you don't want her to do it even better, and that's when the real hard work starts. So.
And we forget how time moves on, of course. That was 8 years ago, was it?
It was.
So
Long
I
time.
can do the maths. So it's 2011 today.
Yes.
And 8 years ago would make it about 2003. Is that right?
It was just after 2004, April 2004. We did 2 back-to-back.
Oh,
There you go.
okay.
Your maths was good, but you didn't know they
You
were
see, I've made
back-to-back.
myself look like a fool already. You see, in those days, Natasha was a big star. Not
Yes.
so much now because she went to Channel 5 and, of course, nobody watches it.
Yeah, what is that?
She was
Channel 5? Never heard of it.
I mean, she was one of the biggest stars in the country at that point, wasn't she?
Huge, actually, at the time. Breakfast anchor, BBC One, yeah, huge name. And for her to do Strictly was quite the thing. She was very reluctant. I had to take a lot of pushing her, but did that and came out victorious. And it was a weird one because we didn't really know how the show was going to be before then. It was Pro Celebrity Come Dancing before it got its title. But
All right, I want to talk about more ladies next, both personally and professionally.
Come on.
We're going to get to that next. Brendan Cole is with us in the studio talking about his new tour, Live and Unjudged. It's coming tonight to Harrogate. We're back on The Big Show. It's Alex Belfield in the morning, live and local and with you through until midday, talking to the big stars, as we do every day at 9:30. And today we've got a good one for you. Brendan Cole, interesting story, fascinating life. We're going to end up talking about Michelle Williams, who, of course, was your most recent partner on Strictly. A few more, though, going back a couple of years. Fiona Phillips from GMTV. She's fun, isn't she?
now, why'd you have to go and mention that? Why have you upset me so early in the morning? I don't understand. Fiona was lovely. Just, I think our personalities clashed. It was kind of one of those. She's a nice girl. I'm a nice boy sometimes, but we didn't have the same mentality going forward. And when you do something like Strictly, you've really got to have the same work ethic. I'm very driven. She was very sort of like didn't want to be involved, sort of sat back, and that kind of thing really ruffles my feathers. And it was a marriage made to fail. Really.
Well, I love Fiona, and she's kind of got a tongue in her cheek, and there's a certain laziness to her performance on screen, let alone in the dance room.
Tell me about it.
Did that bother you?
It bothered me more than you could even imagine. And I don't like to say anything bad against it because she is actually a very nice girl, but it's that lazy kind of sit back attitude which drove me nuts, and I'm still having a couple of nightmares about her. But she's a lovely girl. We've seen each other a couple of times since, and it's always happy and hugs and what have you. But just like any working relationship, you're not going to gel with everybody. Doesn't mean to say that you're nasty people or horrible people, just one of those things.
So that's Fiona's taken care of then. We move down the list to Kelly Brook, and of course one of the most photographed people in the world, one of the most gorgeous, and your stuff is quite intimate. I suppose in the end you just have to get over any embarrassments you have, not that you've got anything either of you to be embarrassed about, unlike myself with me man boobs and me 72-inch waist.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, you got to kind of you got to get close, haven't you?
You do. It's a terrible job. And it's quite ironic, isn't it? Most people that think ballroom dancing, you sort of think, oh, a bit sissy, all that kind of thing. Here I am dancing with all these gorgeous women like Kelly Brook, and people are still calling me sissy. It's a weird one, but I'm very lucky. I've gotten to dance with some stunning people at the time. Rachel Hunter as well. I did a little Christmas special with her. Kelly was a lovely girl, very, very talented. She was very able. Our little journey on Strictly was cut short that year because of her bereavement in her family. So it was one of those things. She could have gone very, very well. But
how do you get over the embarrassment of two people virtually seeing and feeling and touching everything that you really shouldn't when you're not in an intimate relationship? Do you know what I'm saying? It's unnatural.
Is that embarrassing? Do you have problems with intimacy?
Well, let me talk to you about this, Brendan. Let me be perfectly honest with you. I'm a deeply unattractive man. Look at this face. I never get the opportunity to touch anybody, let alone somebody like Kelly Brook. Should I have the opportunity, I think people may describe me as creepy, and that's not what you want to be called, is it?
No, it's not. Far from it. Obviously, when you first get into a situation like that, there is a little bit of that sort of stand, do I touch? But as a dancer, there's no mucking about. It's straight in, do it, and the sooner you get past that, the sooner you can start working. And actually, after a while, you forget, oh, gorgeous Kelly Brook, and you start working. Obviously, you get to hold on to it every day. So don't get me wrong, I did think about a very attractive girl. She's nice to touch,
Plumptious.
but you're being professional and you've got a job to do and you get on with it, and before long you just become really good friends, and that's where it is.
Of all those names that I see on the list that you've danced with, the one that puts the fear of God into me the most is the one that you had this year, Michelle Williams.
Yeah.
Having met her several times and met many of the rest of them several times, she's the most starry of them all. How did you find her?
Mixed. I had moments of really good times. I mean, for the most part, we had a great time on the show. We enjoyed each other's company, and there were a couple of moments, but we all have moments. I've had a few myself in my days where you're not feeling good about yourself, and I think that's where it changes.
But of all of those on the list, I think she's the only international megastar, and let's face it, Destiny's Child is as big as you're going to get.
It's pretty large. I think the difference, maybe, let's say Beyonce, for example, when she came to the BBC and she did a little thing, stunning, by the way. Oh my goodness. She walked down the corridor and she had an entourage of, I don't know how many, maybe 13, maybe 40, I'm not sure. And then Michelle, she came along, she was with herself, she had a little PA, but, that's, I think, as big as the diva sort of got. But obviously these girls, they come from a massive background. 50 million albums sold, Grammys, you name it. And I think with all that, there's going to be a little bit of, hello, I've arrived and I want to be taken care of. And rightly so. I suppose she deserves it, but I found her nice.
Let's take a piece of music from Destiny's Child. We're talking to Brandon Cole today. He's on tour. He's coming to Harrogate tonight with Live and Unjudged. It starts 7:30.
That's right. Tickets on the door or pre-booked through the box office.
We're back with our remaining moments with Brandon Cole. He's the star of Strictly Come Dancing. He's coming tonight to Harrogate with his live tour. Personally, we've talked about the ladies of your life on stage.
Yes.
I've got a list here of ladies that you are rumoured to have had.
Oh, I don't believe that.
Well, let's start at the beginning.
Go on then.
Abby Titmus.
Yeah, see, no.
Nothing ever happened?
Well, no.
Did anything a little bit happen?
No.
Oh, what a shame. I wanted to find out about her because I find her rather nice. Another one of my favourite people, Martine McCutcheon.
Friend of mine. That's it. Nothing. She's also a friend of my wife's, strangely enough.
Oh, God. Because she's another cutie patootie, isn't she?
She's very cutie patootie. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Is it nice being hot? This is basically what I'm getting to, because I've never had that, where ladies watch you, and I think guys who can dance for guys are a bit namby-pamby, Pimco liberal, champagne-sipping friends of Alan Carr.
Uh-huh.
Women find it a massive turn-on and think, he's got rhythm.
That's what it all takes sometimes, It's a nice thing to have that kind of adoration, if you like, without having to be the best looking fella in the place, because obviously we are not all that. So dancing does come in handy, and it's nice in a way. You mentioned all the people I've been rumoured to be with and what have you. It's such a load of media nonsense. If I was with all the people they said I'd been with, I'd have been a very busy boy, and I wasn't.
You'd have an autobiography like Russell Brand, wouldn't you? Really?
Well, exactly. I'd be. In fact, once I came third to Russell Brand in a slept with the most women in London. It wasn't true. I haven't done it, but I think, as a single fella, if you're out on the town and you're on a big show like Strictly Come Dancing, people are going to talk, and it's not a bad thing to be associated with some of the women that I have been, but
they're the kind of rumours I need, Brendan. Let me tell you, all I get talked about in the papers is Jay McDonald, Sue Pollard and Joe Pasquale. I don't know in which order.
I'm not sure I want to hear that.
Your live show's coming tonight, then you're on the road.
Yeah.
Is that fun or depressing? Do you bring the current Mrs. Cole with you?
I do bring the current Mrs. Cole. She's not in tonight in Harrogate, but it is Live and Unjudged is the best thing I have ever done in my life professionally. It's just to be on stage, like we talked about earlier, with that intimacy with the audience that are there to see you, and just to be able to connect with them, do your dancing. We've got some fantastic numbers in there. The interesting is when the girls obviously bring along their fellas to watch, and most fellas, I don't want to go on dancing, sorry about that terrible Yorkshire accent. It was rubbish. I'll try again.
Come on.
Something for them as well. The girls in the wearing next to nothing in some of the Latin numbers, and I just wanted to have something for everybody because it's such a diverse audience that watch Strictly that will hopefully come along and watch my
Okay, so
stage
look
show.
me in the eye then.
Go on.
I'm a red-blooded male. I kick over trees and play rugby.
That's what we do.
Okay. Am I going to be bored off my face coming to see you if I bring the current Mrs. Belfield?
Heck no. If you come along and you are bored, I'll give you your money back.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Because I'm very busy. I've got a lot to do. There's double Coronation Street. I've got to watch on Sky Plus.
Mate, I think the thing I set out to do with this tour is make it extremely good for everybody that comes because of the diversity, and to have I've had blokes sitting in the audience, proper builder type blokes going, I didn't expect to enjoy the show as much as I did. I'm still smiling, and to have that, I think I've put together a fantastic show, and it excites me to be up there anyway.
I've got to be honest with you, dance is not my favourite thing.
Nope.
Look at me. I'm not really into watching it or doing it.
Nope.
But what does fascinate me about your show is the live band. That's a thrill.
That is such a big part of the show. Normally when you go to the theatre or some sort of concert, the band are down in the pits and you don't actually see them. They're all on stage. They're all part of it. They're as much a part of the show as the dancers. So there is a little something for everybody. And by the time that there's a guy on the percussion, and Ollie, and he's chucking his things up in the air. So if you don't like the dancing, just watch him. You could watch him for a couple of hours, and he's a good-looking fella for the girls.
And very finally about the Strictly stuff, does it ever become normal when you open the paper and you're in it and they're saying stuff about you? Because part of these shows, the intrigue is the big thing, and they want to read stuff week in, week out, and they create stuff. Some of it's real, some of it's not. Yeah. Are you happy with all of that?
I think for the most part, yes. I hate when people that are in the public eye, for example, start moaning about, they keep writing about. Don't give me that. If you're being written about, things are going quite well, and you've got to be happy to an extent. I think when they take things a little bit too far, that's obviously when it's a problem, and when it offends people, like let's say my wife, if there's something in there that's going to offend her, that upsets me completely. And I've done interviews where journalists will pull things and twist them a little bit, or for example, I did an interview recently about my tour, and the journalist mentioned my father, who recently passed away, and I said I don't want to talk about it, and they've then mixed that in and tried to make it like I did this big interview on it, and that sort of thing hurts. But apart from that, hey.
I think you were very brave, by the way, to come back the way you did amidst all that stuff.
Thank
so congratulations on that.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming in today. It's been a real pleasure meeting you. We have absolutely nothing in common. Let me review. I'm deeply unattractive. The ladies think you're gorgeous. You can dance. I can't dance. Ladies will pay any amount of money to come and see you live. Nobody's interested in paying to see me to do anything. I spend my life being anonymous on the radio. You're on the TV. I mean, we've just nothing in common. Who'd have thought we'd have managed to get through half an hour and chit-chat?
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you a ticket to tonight's show, right? And you're going to come down, because part of the show is you actually get up in the audience on one of the numbers,
it ain't
and you do a bit of salsa. It's just for a couple of minutes. Come on, you want to
happening. Honestly,
here we go.
I hate audience participation. It's enough to serve my blood cold.
Just one number.
Not anything. No, I'll sit and watch you if I'm coming. Brandon Cole, thank you very much for coming in, and really nice to see you. Go tonight then to Harrogate to see Live and Unjudged. It's the tour that's sweeping the UK, starring Brandon Cole. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers.